With the two lands once more united, a new dynasty emerged, one that would build upon Thebes' triumph and shape Egypt's destiny for centuries to come. Under the rule of Amenemhat and his descendants, Egypt's power, art, and ambition would reach new horizons. Once on the throne, Senusret I turned his gaze southward. He launched campaigns deep into Nubia, extending Egypt's borders and bringing its rich lands under his control. The Nubian gold mines and trade routes swelled Egypt's wealth, fueling an age of prosperity and grand construction. Across the two lands, temples rose, and the art of engraving reached new heights of beauty and precision. Senusret's reign became a symbol of Middle Kingdom splendor. Among his most remarkable works stands the great obelisk of Heliopolis, raised in celebration of his 30th year on the throne. It remains the oldest standing obelisk in the world. Senusret I was succeeded by his son and former co-ruler Amenemhat II. Building on his father's stable reign, Amenemhat opened Egypt once more to the wider world. Trade routes stretched far beyond the Nile to the cities of Syria and perhaps even Mesopotamia. Exotic goods and foreign envoys arrived at Egypt's ports, symbols of a kingdom that was prosperous, confident, and outward-looking once again. Amenemhat II was succeeded by his son Senusret II, who continued his father's policies of peace and prosperity. But his successor, Senusret III, would transform Egypt's ambitions entirely. Bold and driven, he looked beyond Egypt's borders. To the south, he launched a series of campaigns deep into Nubia, expanding Egypt's frontier farther than ever before. By cutting canals through the cataracts of the Nile and building powerful fortresses at key points, Senusret III turned Nubia into a permanent Egyptian province, securing the gold and trade routes of the south. His reach extended eastward as well, as Egyptian influence spread into Canaan, to cities like Shechem, marking the Middle Kingdom's height of power. Yet Senusret III's greatest legacy was not won on the battlefield. It was built through administration. He curbed the power of the provincial governors, ending centuries of local independence that had weakened Egypt since the Old Kingdom. In their place, he established a new order, 4 great districts, each managed by officials who answered directly to the vizier. These reforms forged a strong central government that would endure for generations, allowing Egypt to remain united and efficient long after Senusret III's death. Amenemhat III succeeded his father, inheriting a kingdom unified, organized, and strong. What Senusret III had built through conquest and reform, Amenemhat now turned into prosperity. His reign marked the peak of Egypt's Middle Kingdom, an age of peace, wealth, and monumental achievement. After Amenemhat's long and prosperous reign, Egypt was ruled briefly by his successor Amenemhat IV, and then by a queen, Sobekneferu. With her death, the 12th Dynasty came to an end. One of the greatest and most prosperous dynasties in Egypt's long history was no more. With the passing of the great 12th Dynasty, a new line rose to power, the 13th Dynasty. The kings continued to rule from Ichtawi, following the traditions and policies of their illustrious predecessors. Yet beneath the surface, the stability of Egypt had begun to fade. In just over a century, nearly 70 rulers would claim the throne, some reigning only for months, others perhaps ruling alongside rivals. Still, the royal court remained at Ichtawi, and Egypt, though restless, held together. Why Egypt declined during this time remains a mystery, yet the kingdom did not collapse overnight. By the middle of the 13th dynasty, Egypt's unity began to fracture once more. In the Delta, a new line of rulers emerged, the 14th Dynasty, independent kings who no longer answered to the pharaohs of Ichtawi. Their rise marked the beginning of a divided Egypt, as rival courts now claimed the same throne. Far to the south, Nubia too slipped from Egyptian hands, falling once more under the rule of local chiefs. The kingdom that had stretched from the Delta to the Second Cataract was now crumbling, piece by piece. Amid the chaos that gripped Egypt, a new power rose from beyond her borders. A foreign people the Egyptians would call the Hyksos, the rulers of foreign lands. Step by step, the Hyksos swept through the Delta, overthrowing both the 13th and 14th dynasties. They established the 15th dynasty, a foreign line of kings ruling over the north. With their rise, the glorious Middle Kingdom came to an end, and Egypt entered a new age of division, the Second Intermediate Period. With the Hyksos now ruling from the Delta, the age of the Middle Kingdom had ended, and a new struggle for the soul of Egypt had begun. Will this be the end of the great civilization of ancient Egypt, or the prelude to an age even greater than before? Find out next time.